They say home is where the heart is. How about home is where the hits are? At least they were for the Rangers last night. Lots of hits, lots of runs. We talk about that game and look into the future with the newly promoted general manager, CY. We'll talk about Chris Young and the whole thing as we get you going on the Rangers podcast here on DLLS. Runs, 13 hits, and it is so nice to see Jonah Heim smiling. His 2-run hit broke a tie in this game and got the floodgates open for the Texas Rangers, who opened the homestand with a very good victory last night. John Radigan here. We've got Jeff Wilson and Abby Jones, and Bruce Bochy told us yesterday that, all he wants from these guys down the stretch is to give it their all, as they do every day, every single day, right? There's no playing out the string here. This is give it your all every day. We saw that last night, Abs.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy does not want to, raise the white flag on these last 11 games. I mean, they're thinking about 2025, but they've got to finish out 2024, and they plan on finishing it out as strong as they can.
Yeah, last night was evidence of that, Jeff.
Yeah, when a team is not contending, they still have to be professional. They owe it to the game. They owe it to the contenders to go out and give it their all. And I know that neither the Blue Jays nor the Rangers are contending right now, but the Mariners are. And, it's the Rangers' duty to give it their all against the Mariners rather than just lay down and affect the pennant race adversely. So, Bruce Bochy has won four World Series. Well, this is his 23rd time not winning a World Series. All right. So he appreciates all the times that teams have fought to the end in support of his playoff teams and recognizes that that's what needs to be done. And it says a lot about the player, too. You can see a lot of, he mentioned character and things like that. Marcus Semion's going to be, up guys' butts if they're laying off. It's still games to be played, especially at home. You want to play really well for the fans at home. Give them something to tease them to come back next year. But yeah, there's part of being a baseball player is being a professional and carrying yourself the right way and finishing strong is part of that.
Yeah, that's what they mean when the managers and other players talk about he's a pro, he's a true pro. That's one of the things they're talking about is how they approach something like this. We ask you to like us, smash that like button. We ask you to also subscribe. The more subscribers we have, the happier we are. And what's this whole Supermax thing?
Super Chat.
Super Chat.
Super Chat is basically you can pay money and you can get your chat read. Maybe it's a question that you have. Maybe it's a discussion that you want to be a part of. But it's a super chat that you send in. It's going to have like a gold kind of sparkling element to it, so it stands out. And it kind of controls the conversation a little bit. So if you have something that you feel strongly about, send in a super chat, and we will be sure that we get to it. The Nuggets, when they won, somebody sent in like a $500 super chat.
Wow.
Yeah, just because they sent in actually a chat, like a super chat every time the Nuggets won a game during playoffs. So it kind of became a thing, and then once they won it all, they just they went big with it, and it's super fun. So join the conversation. We would greatly appreciate it because then we get to do more things with you guys. The more super chats that we bring in.
Yeah. Do the
win-win.
super chat, and we'll promise you, if we see a super chat, we read it, as long as it's like clean and nice, and so keep them clean. But yeah, we absolutely want you to be a part of this.
It's a family show.
We want to guarantee your presence on this show, and the way we do that, the way you do that, is through a super chat. So let's get the super chats going as we chat about that game last night, which ebbs and flows and ups and downs, Jeff. And Nathan Eovaldi on the mound, you're kind of thinking, okay, this is a chance for Evo to get home. He needs 4 innings to activate that player option, and things just didn't go as well for him as we normally expect.
Yeah, he'd given up 7 hits in the first 2 innings. And really to be down only 3-0 at that point, he pitched well, especially in the second to limit the Blue Jays to 1 run. Then the Rangers end up scoring 5 in the 4th. And then he gives away the lead, which just is not Nathan Eovaldi. He lamented it, that he did it afterward, and said it just can't happen. As far as the innings, though, he did get the 4 innings, so he has 300 now between last year and this year, which triggers a player clause, player option for $20 million for next year. He can accept it or he can decline it and become a free agent. I think the smart money is on him declining it, and because I think there's more than $20 million out there for Nathan Eovaldi. The question then becomes, and I wrote about this morning at alldlls.com/Rangers. It's a diehards only story. My first one, Abby.
Oh, nice.
I did notice that.
I
was very proud.
It talks about, are the Rangers going to have the money? Kind of gets into the TV situation, but also Nathan Eovaldi, his eyes were open last week when he saw Kumar Rocker and Jacob deGrom pitch. He wants to be part of that rotation. He wants to win. He's going to be 35 in February 13th. He doesn't have a ton of years left. He wants to win as long as he's playing. He wants to be a contender and have a chance to win a 3rd World Series. So when he sees that Kumar Rocker and Jacob deGrom are going to be in that rotation, he can see himself in that thing and see the Rangers winning.
And I will say, too, I remember, my dad played until he was 40, 16 years in the big leagues. So, there came a point and a time where you've made the money that you want to make. And Nathan Eovaldi, you have the World Series rings that you want, it's great to win another one, but it's not like he's a player that has nothing to show for what he's done in Major League Baseball. So to be honest, I think that his decision is going to come down to comfortability for him. His family's close to Houston. My dad always said, I don't care if the Dodgers offer me, if the Yankees offer me in my last year, if the Atlanta Braves offer me, I'm going to take it because I'd be an hour away from my kids. So I do think that there's a lot of enticing factors for Nathan Eovaldi to continue to stay with the Rangers. But I will say, just the older that they get, the more that they achieve. It really, I would think that average logic and, what you would think would matter really goes out the window, because it's all about the player wanting to remain comfortable, help the family out a little bit, staying local and things like that.
100% agree. I go all the way back to when Rafael Palmeiro when he actually left the Rangers and went to the Baltimore Orioles, and he came back. And for that last contract that he came back for, the Rangers offered him whatever the years were for $45 million. I'll not forget the number. So it was a $45 million contract. Meantime, the Orioles, where he had played the previous 4 or 5 years, offered him $50 million. And he comes back, and I'm like, dude, you came back for $5 million less to come and play here and live here? Are you telling me you don't, he says, care about $5 million? No, right? And again, at that point, numbers were so much different then, and sure, wouldn't mind having that $5 million back now. Poor guy had some bad investments and so forth since then, but the point is, that's where they get. This is late in his career, right? That's where they get. That's the point they get to, and especially with the kind of money that they're making now.
No doubt about that. But we saw Nathan Eovaldi, have an uncharacteristic outing. Let's take a listen to what Nathan Eovaldi had to say about that performance, because he is one of the toughest on himself.
Not really sure. I felt better, this time around than I did last week in Arizona. I felt like I made a few mechanical adjustments. I felt better. I feel like earlier in the game they had a few hits that just found the holes. A few first pitch base hits. When we talk about that a lot, right? Attacking the zone, trying to get first pitch out, and I got a few of those tonight, but also gave a few first pitch hits. I think at the end of the day, I just have to do a better job of executing my pitches where I want.
What did you do in that 3rd inning to come away from giving up a couple runs and then being able to only have 7 pitches in it?
Yeah, I think it was a mix of mild speed pitches. at the beginning of the game, I started trying to locate the fastballs inside, and they were able to get a few first pitch base hits. And then, the third and fourth innings, I felt like I was attacking well with my off speed and kind of, putting them in that defense mode. Again, it's frustrating at the end of the day. The offense did an incredible job and bailed me out of that. The first 2 innings, we put up 4 or 5 runs, and then they answered back. They're able to tie the game, and I can't allow that to happen. But Wyatt had a great job, or did a great job today, both sides of the ball. The OD, same thing, and Dolly as well. We were able to score a lot of runs, and the offense was able to bail me out today for sure.
Yeah, the offense did bail him out, and he was disappointed that, he was unable to sort of maintain after that. But the offense was a thing last night. And we already talked about the joy in the eyes of Jonah Heim after the big hit that he came up with last night to untie the game. It was 7-7. He hits a 2-run single that makes it 9-7, and the Rangers cruise on to make it a 13-8 final. Yeah, it was so great for Jonah to, I was actually listening on the radio at that point, and Matt Hicks had a great call. He goes, there it is out into left field, and the piano is off Jonah Heim's back. He had been just carrying the weight of this terrible month that he was mired in, and to not only get the hit, but to get the 2 runs batted in that break the tie. That's one of the reasons we saw that joy on his face.
Yeah, and Jeff, last night, I asked Boch a question about the hit, and he said, Jonah had a big hit, and Boch goes, huge hit.
Yeah.
He immediately corrected it just because he's had 1 hit in September, or he was hitless in September, just got his first hit not too long ago. So I'm happy for Jonah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, he was joking about it. He knew, or last week in Seattle, he was joking about how, he's dominating September, and so he needed it. He absolutely needed it. Adolis Garcia had a huge hit.
Yeah.
Leody Taveras had the home run late. So those are the 3 guys that fingers get pointed at the most for the offense's failings this year. So not better late than never, because it could have been sooner. But again, it's about these guys finishing strong, and if they can take whatever it is to feel good about going into the offseason, then more power to him. But for Jonah especially, he's still a young player. This isn't a 12-year veteran. He's a young guy. He still has a chance to be a fixture in this organization, but he needs to be better offensively. And it's about how do you go about that? Do you play him less? Does fewer games mean he doesn't get as exposed by pitchers? Does it keep him fresh? Does he not give away at bats when he's tired late in the game? All those things that might come into play, but. Of all the hits, then there are a lot of big ones. I thought that one kind of stood out.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And you mentioned it. Adolis had a season high on base 4 times. He had 2 singles and 2 walks. And Wyatt did great. We're going to talk more about him in a second. But the offense was spread around the board.
No doubt. 13 runs on 13 hits. That's pretty efficient, I think. And, they had a big 4th inning, 5 runs. They sent 10 batters to the plate, which is, something that we haven't seen in a while. I think the last time was a little bit back in August. But 2 home runs on the night as well. But, man, what a back-and-forth ball game. Because the Rangers had the big 4th with 5 runs, and then the Blue Jays came back immediately, and in the 5th, 4 runs. So it was a back-and-forth ball game, but Rangers got the win, and at this point, that's really all that matters.
And Matt Festa got the win. And how amazing is Matt Festa's story? He goes to 5-0 on the season. He's the first pitcher in Rangers history to go 5-0 in his first 13 relief appearances. It says 2 things. 1, obviously, that he's pitching well, but 2, that the Rangers have been here lately, since he's been a part of this organization, Jeff, able to come back and win these games late.
Yeah, Matt Festa's not pitching the 9th inning with a lead. He's a lower leverage guy. So what he's doing in those games is he's doing his job. He's keeping the game close enough for the Rangers to mount a comeback. Whether it's what he did last night, I think he got 4 outs. That was enough. That was all they needed. Just keep it close, put out the fire. Don't let the other team take off. And 5 wins in 13 games is staggering.
That's amazing.
And a guy that they called up from AAA, he's bounced around a little bit. He's still not even arbitration eligible yet, so he's gonna stay with the team. He'll be at spring training. You you try not to DFA guys who have that kind of financial security, if you will. So I would expect that Festa is a guy who competes for a bullpen spot next year. But a lot of people remember the Yankees game that never ended, and he kind of struggled there. He just got tired, but he's been pretty good call up here the last month.
Yeah, and I think, another sleeper too on that list is Walt Pennington. I think, with the struggles that the Rangers have, it's pretty easy to overlook a bullpen that's just doing their job and doing it well sometimes, because there is a lot more to talk about. But yeah, Matt Festa and Walt Pennington, you like what you've seen from them, extends the arms a little bit and puts the Rangers in a favorable situation.
No doubt about it, and you love what you've seen from one Wyatt Langford. The whole month, of course, but really the entire season, Wyatt Langford's done a great job. I'm wondering, are you more excited next year to see Wyatt Langford or to see one of the young pitchers? Let's say it. Let's just go between Rocker and Langford.
Good one.
Who are you most excited to see in 2025? Let us know in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking about that, and we will look at your responses, talk about them, and talk about that when we come back. But right now, we want to introduce one of our new sponsors, which is Rhoback. And Rhoback is a company that makes the best active gear you can possibly buy. It is designed for comfort, and it is designed for the ease of use. It's great gear for anything you do that's out of doors, especially around here, the things that you do that are when it's hot, which is, so many months out of our year, right? The polo shirts that they have, designed for comfort, and they're awesome, and they are the best at wicking. Remember what wicking is? Pulling that sweat away from your body. It wicks the sweat away, and the shirt does not stick to you. You can move all over. We are getting to that time of the year, though, where it's going to get a little bit cooler.
I hope. It's like 82 degrees today.
Yeah, it's going to be hotter, too. But they have hoodies, and they're fantastic. Same thing, they wick. So even if gets a little warmer than you thought it was going to, go ahead and get these hoodies, and you'll have all the wicking that you need in the polos and the hoodies. They've got solids, they've got prints, they've got classic stripes, all kinds of different designs. These are great clothes, and we want you to use the code DLLS20 on Rhoback.com. It's RHOBACK. You use that code DLLS20, and you get a generous 20% off of your first order. So remember, that's spelled RHOBACK. And as a guy who has an RH at the start of his name, let me tell you how many times I've said no RH when I've spelled out my name over the course of my many years. So remember that H in Rhoback. RH.
I'm also on their website, and they have a game day collection that looks pretty good.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen they've got a lot of the SEC schools, so I've definitely seen this here, and look like they've got some great golf gear, Rads. You guys need to get a little golf
absolutely.
outfit.
Yep, they do.
And their logo's a dog. And how can you beat that?
How do you lose? Yeah.
So
Jeffson.
Speaking of how can you
I was going to say, how do you lose in Sleeper? Yeah.
Sleeper, everybody who knows about Sleeper, I've seen billboards of Sleeper and popping up in the area. Everybody who knows Sleeper knows it for fantasy, but the daily picks, that's a big deal. I frankly like it better.
Ooh,
I like
graphic.
the action.
Right.
Yeah.
It's daily. It's every day.
And so do the Wilsons. It turns out my wife and 2 kids went to the game last night and had a great time. Molly got on the video board a couple times. She made a happy birthday Marcus Simeon sign. And
that's cute.
Yeah, between the first and top of the first and bottom of the first, she got on. So good eyes there by the camera guys out there. But anyway, as the game went along, these are 9 and 12-year-olds. It was past their bedtime. They're getting a little tired.
It was past my bedtime.
The game was dragging, but they had made on Sleeper. They'd done 10 picks.
Okay.
And so that's what kept them going. They'd done a lot of picks on the Rangers game. They got 9 out of them right.
Wow.
9 of 10.
That's fantastic.
The birthday boy let him down a little bit by not that ball that was caught at the wall. If that falls in,
he hit one to the wall.
They win. They win their bet. Anyway, as it is, they got basically their entry fee back. But it's really easy and it's fun and I love it. So download the Sleeper app. All right. If you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Rangers to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms for use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states, including the great state of Texas. Check out Sleeper today.
It's fantastic. And I imagine today and pretty much every other day for the rest of his career on Sleeper, you're going to have the opportunity to make a pick about Wyatt Langford, right? Is Wyatt Langford going to hit 4 or 5 home runs today? Maybe not that many, but clearly this guy is absolutely, as I heard someone say yesterday, he's absolutely figured it out. And that is the evolution, right? The maturation of a player. There's a feeling around several people within the Rangers organization who feel like right there at the start of September, Abs, was when it began to click, for Wyatt Langford. He's been good all year. He's been great in September.
This is interesting because we talked to Bruce Bochy about it yesterday, and he said that the most valuable experience that he can get is daily reps in the big leagues. And this is arguably the longest that he has played in his career as a baseball player. Let's take a look at some insane statistic I found about Wyatt Langford, because out of all of the rookies in Major League Baseball, there are 16 qualifying rookies that have played in every single game for their club in the month of September. 15 games total. Do you see all of these numbers and stats here? This isn't just a rundown. This is a list of things that he is leading Major League Baseball in for the month of September. How about the entire for rookies? How about the entire slash line? That just goes to him. Hits, runs. He is tied first with home runs with Jackson Chourio with Milwaukee. Jeff, did I say that right? Chourio.
Yeah.
My pronunciations.
He's good.
Subpar.
Yep.
But, tied first in home runs for, he's going to hit more. I mean, it's halfway through September, but just the fact that he's leading in all of those categories amongst qualifying rookies, it's insane. It's clicked, no doubt about it. We talked to him last night, and, Quiet Wyatt, man of many words.
Yep.
I asked him, everyone's kind of looking to that 2025 season and spring training. How do you want to finish out these 11 games that you have left? And he said, finish strong, go out there and play hard every day, do what you can. I mean, it's great. That's a great baseball answer.
No doubt.
I don't know what else you'd say.
No doubt. And we're seeing a few people in the chat say they think they're more excited about seeing Wyatt play next year. And one reason I think that's wise, he will play every day, right? Yeah. We're only going to see Rocker every 5th day. And as Jeff has pointed out, he's not going to pitch 180 innings next year. We're not going to see a full season of Kumar Rocker. And you just can't. You can't put that kind of pressure on his arm. So, Wyatt Langford's a pretty good choice on that front. And last night was just a classic example. 3 extra base hits in the game, and that's, the guys just don't get 3 extra base hits very often in the game.
Actually, he's the 3rd Rangers rookie in club history to record 3 extra base hits in a game since Mike Lamb and David Murphy. Good old David
our
Murphy.
buddy David.
Yeah.
So Langford on Sleeper today, if you think he's going to get more than 1 hit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or more than, if you think he's going to get 1 hit, that's a bet.
Yeah.
That's a buck.
So that seems like, I think we can do that one.
Yeah.
Just based on those numbers that Abby dug up there. So, but the everyday player thing, it's hard. The first time you're in the major leagues, it is really hard. And you can tell a player it's going to be hard. You're going to be sore, all of this, all of that. But you have to experience to fully understand it. And now Wyatt Langford's going to fully understand that. And along the way, he's built up the knowledge of the pitchers, what the stuff looks like, what outfield walls do in Anaheim or Minnesota, wherever he's going to be playing. So this year is a huge year for him in terms of just that, getting the lay of the land and understanding what it takes to get through 162. And I know he was hurt earlier, but when these guys are hurt, they don't just lay around. He was doing stuff. They sent him to Arizona to work on his swing once he was able to do it. So it's a grind. I mean, they call it the grind, and he's grinding through it. And it's going to serve him real well next year, and it's going to serve the Rangers well next year. I don't want to throw out any wild numbers about what he'd do, but I'd imagine the home runs go up. He's at 12 now, I think.
Yeah, he had 12 last night.
I'd imagine it's maybe gets to 20,
Sure.
25 range next season. The batting average is probably going to be higher. Maybe not 345 like he's hitting this month, but probably better than the 254 or 253 that he's hitting overall this season. So a lot of good things to build upon, but you can definitely see the talent and why the Rangers wanted this guy 4th overall. Not sure why the Tigers
skipped
not
him.
sure why the Tigers didn't want him, but the Rangers sure
Hey,
did.
one man's trash, another man's treasure.
Yeah, and basically playing a new position too, right? So that's significant, right? And learning that at the big league level. In fact, I showed the graphic again, if you don't mind, Elijah, because I loved Elijah's shot here. Look at that. You see the ball up over I didn't notice it at first.
Yeah.
He's that's great concentration too, as he's working on his craft out there in the field.
And also, there was a players take video kind of showing before the game started, and it was like, who's the biggest gym rat? Oh, they all said Wyatt Langford. I mean, you've seen the guy's quads. Like, it's ridiculous. So I do think that there is also understanding the balance of working out and fielding and hitting every single day, too, because my brother talks about this. He has to talk to so many players that want to spend so much time in the weight room because they think that if they, just keep pumping the iron, like it's going to make the ball go further. Sometimes that's not always true. So I do think that there is a really soft balance between all elements, not just on the field, things off the field as well. It takes a while to adjust, but you're seeing it click in September.
Well, but now here's the next challenge for him. That is the off season, right? How do you approach an off season? Because he's never had a full season followed by a full off season. And most of these guys, not all, most, take a little time off to completely decompress. It probably will be harder for the gym rat too. And he's going to need to.
You hope he has like an accountability buddy. He's definitely got
he's got teammates for
teammates
sure.
and coaches with him. But there's good guys that have been in his shoes before, and the Rangers are so lucky to have 10-year veterans and further than that to kind of lean on him, and hopefully him and Evan Carter can go back and forth too about playing ball together soon. We miss that guy in the lineup, no doubt.
Yeah, the Rangers at the end of every season have exit interviews with all their players, but the ones who are coming back get plans. They talk about what they want to work on in the off season, and Wyatt lives in Florida in the off season. His wife, I believe, is still in college at Mercer, which is in Georgia, and so I'm not sure where he's going to be spending his off season. Probably not here, but that's fine. The Rangers can fly in and see him. I'm sure he has somebody he trusts. I'm sure that the Rangers trust the strength coaches at the University of Florida, where maybe Wyatt goes and works out every day. But they'll give him a plan. They will give him a plan. And then to Abby's point, next season, he's going to know better. Like, I'm pretty tired. I don't know if I need to take 50 swings, or if I don't need to hit on the field today, I think I'm going to be okay. I don't need to lift for strength. I need to lift for maintenance during the seasons, things like that. So,
and that's a big difference.
Yeah. And just saving those bullets where you can gets you through another day, and maybe makes you a little bit fresher for a big at bat in the 8th inning than it would have if you had swung 100 times as opposed to 75 times, something like that. It all adds up, and that's something else Bruce Bochy talked about yesterday. Just learning those things, all part of getting through it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As Abby mentioned, he has great sort of learn by doing teachers, right? That he's out there with the Corey Seagers of the world, the Marcus Simeons of the world, and many others, but especially those two as the leaders of this organization. But there's a great manager with experience at bringing these guys up, and then there's coaches too. But it's wonderful to have that much support to sort of show you the way.
No doubt about it. And two, another year with analytics too. This is a reminder. You just don't have that level of data and knowledge and research at the college level. So it takes a minute to figure it out and learn how to use it as an advantage, because you do have to balance out the field there as well. You can't just go on what the data is telling you. So I think it's a lot to improve upon, definitely, but it was a pretty good rough draft for Wyatt Langford.
Yeah, it really was. It's an excellent rookie season, an excellent final month so far of the rookie season too. So we'll
And we're
keep an
18
eye.
days in.
Yeah, we'll
It's not even over.
keep an eye on him. There are 11 left now, right? 11 games left. So he's got plenty of time to continue to improve, and there's no doubt that we will. And I'm going to get the Sleeper app today, and I'm going to be making my wager on that one hit. I'm
Can you
going
buy us
over.
lunch if you win?
Yes, I'm going over one for sure. And I may make some others. You don't know me. I mean, I might haul off. We're gonna talk about the future of the Rangers. It's somewhat long term now, as they have the tallest president in Major League Baseball. What does that mean? We'll talk about it as we get to the CY story. But first, I want to tell you that if you need to hire somebody, I think we all know what you need to do. If you need someone to hire someone, you need Indeed. Indeed, you do. Yeah.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a great website. We're really proud to have them as a sponsor for us. They really are the leader, the industry leader in this type of thing. They don't really just search for a candidate for you. They match you with not only a candidate, but the best candidate. 3.5 million companies around the world use Indeed because it's such a fantastic app for finding the best talent out there for the job opening that you have. And 350,000 original visits to their website each and every month. So it's just so many people out there on that app looking for work. You're looking for workers. It's a match made in heaven. We want you to make sure that you're a part of Indeed, because it's such a great way for you to find the best possible talent. If you will just go online right now and go to Indeed.com/AllCity, you will get a 75 sponsored job credit. This is a credit that puts your job into a higher visibility category. It gives the job more visibility, and gives you the opportunity to get even a better candidate, the best candidate. That's what Indeed is focused on each and every time, is getting you the best candidate possible. So if you need to hire,
you need
Indeed.
Indeed.
There you go.
All right.
Fellas.
Yeah.
We have quite the slate ahead of us with starting pitching for the Texas Rangers.
Yes.
We're going to have Kamar Rocker.
Yep.
Jacob deGrom.
Yep.
Max Scherzer.
Yep.
Jack Leiter's going to be coming out of the pen. We'll get into all that. However, you guys need to go out and watch the game. Me and Rads are going to be in the studio on Thursday. I'm pretty sad that we're not able to
I
see
hate that we're not
Rocker
going to
in
see
person.
Rocker in person. Yeah.
I'm going to see him in
I
person.
expect a in-detailed scouting
Look at that
report.
smile.
Yeah.
He's going to see him in person.
Yeah, for the second time, too.
That's right.
Stingy. So anyway, we can't get out there. You guys definitely should, and you should use Game Time to do so.
Yeah.
It is your one-stop shop for tickets, for events, for concerts, for you name it. They've got it. Being downtown, I hear a lot from the AAC. Sometimes I'll hop on and I'll decide to go to a concert last minute because it's like a $50 ticket.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a panoramic view, and you can see your seat, so you can see if somebody's going to be in the way, if foul pole's going to be there. That wouldn't be too fun. So they give you that opportunity, and you can get the best option for you. It has the lowest pricing guaranteed. They also have Game Time ticket coverage. One time I spent a few bands on a concert, and I just wasn't able to go for a work reason. And I was told I was only going to get my money back if the concert was canceled by the artist himself. So to avoid a situation like that and save some money, use Game Time, because they do have a little protection plan for you. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code DLLS for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. You just create an account, redeem DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
It's game time.
And I saw on Twitter that somebody found one of the Baseball Forever.
They did.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Where did they say where they found it?
No, but they did put a photo of it, and I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So that's at least 1 out of 25 gone, to my knowledge. So there's 24 left. Keep looking.
The games this weekend are expected to be sellouts. So
you're really going to need game time.
Game time could really come through for you there.
Yeah, and the other thing is the rest of the games on this homestand, there's some great giveaways yet. I know there's a Josh Spores ring. I don't know when that one. It might be tonight.
It was either last night or tonight.
I think it's Thursday.
Thursday.
We're
It's the
both
day
wrong?
game. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the Zbor's
Adolis
ring that day.
Garcia
There's a mystery
cartwheel.
ring. There's the Adolis cartwheel. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, so that's a gravity defying bobblehead, the first ever, I think, the Adolis cartwheel bobblehead. So
Gotta be up there with Belcher's.
yeah, that's
The-
yeah.
Moving the on deck
Yeah,
circle.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
yeah.
one's the best.
That's a good one. Yeah. So anyway, that's a reason to get out there. Another reason is to watch the Rangers 6'10" general, or now president of baseball operations, walk even taller, right? Because he's feeling good. He's got a new contract. He got a new promotion. Chris Young will be in charge of this team. They haven't released the terms, but suffice to say, he'll be in charge for a long time to come. It's his dream to be a part of this thing. And he told
Literally
us
his
yesterday his goal when he got the job was to help bring a World Series championship to the Texas Rangers. And it burned inside him. And he said, now it burns inside me to bring another one. And that's the backdrop against which the new president of baseball operations starts his career in that new title. And man, that's a great thing to have. This wasn't a one-off for him. This is every year for him.
Yeah, and those are his expectations. It's already nice to see the return on investment there, because I do think that people say a lot of things, but when they have something to show for it, it just carries that much more. And the cool thing about Chris Young is that he won a ring as a player. He now won a ring as a manager, and that goes
Well, as a GM.
as a GM, yeah, a GM. So that goes that takes it to a whole nother level, because he said, it's the lens that I know. Coming from the playing field, like, I know what I can expect of my players because I had to go do it myself. So when they say something, like, I have one, empathy if I need to, but then I also know that I can push them a little bit further because what I'm asking is very valid, because I myself had to do it. I think that it makes the players respect him a lot more as well. And, like, he is just, he's there every day. I love CY. I love what he's done with this organization. He has fantastic plans. I love that he talked about he wants the Rangers to be known for their pitching in the next few years. And, that's definitely a goal, is to have those homegrown pitchers. You already kind of start to see that with a guy like Kamar and Jack Leiter too. So he is promising a lot. He's delivered some of it so far, but he shared yesterday, we're not going to be we're not going to feel accomplished until we have major league results over a pretty substantial amount of time. So
Yeah, I love that answer, actually, because I asked him, I said, how gratifying is it for an organization that just has been known for not developing pitchers to have developed a couple like Kumar Rocker and like Jack Leiter? And that was his answer. Well, yeah, we've gotten them here, but let's don't mistake that with being where they need to be, where they want to be, where we expect them to be. And that is to be doing what they're doing for a long period of time. I love that that's the goal, Jeff.
Well, and Bruce Bochy experienced it firsthand when he managed the Giants. And, the Giants were built on a rotation of Lincecum, Matt Cain, Madison Bumgarner. Sure, they added pieces like Ryan Vogelsong, but these were guys that you didn't have to worry about. You just knew when you go in the offseason, he's back, because they're all arbitration eligible or pre-arb. Lincecum got a huge arbitration deal his last year. That's fine. But these guys, they're the backbone to a winning club. And the A's, as we've talked about with Mulder, Zito, and Hudson, same thing. And really the Mets in 14 or 15 when they lost to the Royals.
Yeah,
it was Noah Syndergaard, Matt Harvey, and Jacob deGrom. So those are things that can just fuel a franchise and change the course of a franchise for 4, 5, 6 years. And so you hope, every team hopes they get it. You hope you get one. One is a huge deal. Look at the Brewers here. Corbin Burns, they had to trade him this year because they can't afford him, but they got a Cy Young out of him and some pretty meaningful starts. So that is a big deal. The focus is always going to be starting pitching with Chris Young because he was a starting pitcher. I think that Evaldi's going to be a big target this offseason. You can talk about homegrown stuff. You still got to have the guys though who have been there and done that. And as good as Rocker has looked and Leiter has looked this month, they still have a lot to learn and a lot to show. There's going to be some bumps in the road with them, no matter how good they look. So have a guy like DeGrom on staff, great. Bring back Eovaldi, a guy who compete, who was great in the clubhouse. Then you got to figure out what to do with Tyler Malley, who seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, looked
pretty good in his 3 starts. John Gray, what are you going to do with John Gray? He probably makes too much money to just be a reliever. He's a little more injury prone. Nothing with his arm, never an arm injury.
No,
always something else. What do you do with him? Because $14 million for a number 5 starter is pretty good. But then you like Cody Bradford a lot too. So the Rangers have some internal options, and they're going to need him because Scherzer's gone, Heaney's probably gone, and Eovaldi might be gone. So it's a big offseason. He talked about the number one thing on the list is rotation, then bullpen. The 2014 and 2015 Royals, the one that Chris Young won a World Series with, had a fantastic bullpen. They could shorten games to 5 innings really, and they did that in the postseason. But you had to have good starting pitchers to get you to that point in the lead to be able to do that. So, where do Yates and Robertson fall in? Hopefully they're back. I mean, not too expensive, but then it comes down to the payroll and all of that jazz. So there's a lot to juggle here, but pitching is definitely going to be the focus.
Yeah, and when we talked to CY about that, what's the priority for the offseason, it was that order. Starting pitching and then the bullpen, right? I mean, he's pitcher-centric, which is so important, especially in the postseason. And right after he finished that interview with us, he went and did his weekly show on 105.3 The Fan, and he was asked point-blank about Eovaldi, and he said, well, 2 things. Nathan Eovaldi will be a free agent at the end of this year. So that is what it is. I can't guarantee you that he will be a member of the Texas Rangers. But here's number 2. We love Nathan Eovaldi, right? I mean, that is his way of kind of circumventing some of the rules about, talking about free agents and all this other stuff, where he says, I believe that statement says we're going to do everything we can to sign Nathan Eovaldi, which makes so much sense for all the reasons we've talked about in the past regarding Nathan.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that Texas is a desirable location for these guys. Like
now it is.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, he's done such a great job. I mean, hearing about Corey Seager wanting to come to Texas, wanting to bring a World Series championship, like, you kind of thought it was insane when you first heard it. But they've done that. They saw the return on investment. It took 2 years. And they saw the return on investment with that. And Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, I mean, these massive names are now in the system. Nathan Eovaldi, I think it'll say a lot to clubs that if he wishes to come back, if he signs again with the Rangers, I think there's just a lot of moves that have been made that speak volumes to the league as a whole. We've talked a lot about how the Rangers want to treat those veteran players and, put them in good situations like Max Scherzer. And, you're unsure about if he's going to remain a Texas Ranger, but he still wants to play baseball. They're putting him in prime spots, and it's all business too. But I think that I've only been in Texas for 3 years, and I feel like it's just been
like you've grown up here. Yeah,
that, and it's really been so cool to see how much Chris Young has done with this organization.
Well, and I think to your point, you say it is still a business, and certainly, obviously, it is. But when you have somebody like CY there. Look, it can be a much colder and more calculating business if you have the wrong person there. Chris Young is not going. Look, there could be organizations that would say, we're probably not going to sign Scherzer. We got to see some of our young guys and not give Max the opportunity that he wants right now to showcase himself. And that would never happen, Jeff, with Chris Young.
Yeah, and He has some empathy because he's been in the situation of some of these guys who are at the end of their career or who are young guys teetering on the AAA Major League expressway between here and Round Rock. So he gets it, and he can tell them, hang in there because it does work out.
It means a little bit more.
I'm living
from
proof
him
that
too.
it works out, and to hear it from a player. And and the manager too. The manager was not an everyday player, but he was in the major leagues for a long time, and he had some times in the minors where after he'd been in the majors and maybe thought he wouldn't get back, but he did. So there's just good leadership at the top of the Rangers spectrum there, and it's
They've
just
really put together a great puzzle,
and it's just a different dynamic that teams don't have with the former player as a GM.
Yeah, it's absolutely true, and it's absolutely great that the Rangers have CY now as the president. Jeff did ask him, is that open the door for there to be a GM? He kind of hedged on that, but he kind of indicated that might be something that happens in the future and perhaps in the near future. So we'll keep an eye for that. We'll be here all through the offseason to keep you updated if any of those things absolutely happen. We got lots to talk about in this offseason with this Texas Rangers team, no doubt about that. We still got a season to finish, though, as the minor leaguers get their season wrapped up. We've got to talk when we come back about minor league award winners, because the future is very bright among those people as well, and also some heartwarming moments from yesterday's game when we were out at the ballpark. But first, Abs, it's time for you to tell us about the merch.
Well, I actually wish I would have had a DLLS shirt to wear today.
Yesterday, too, at the game? Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, it's a lot to do. I mean, for a girl to do a show 5 days a week. I'm running out of clothes.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, there is a place I can go. Store.allcitynetwork.com. They have everything that I'm looking for, because they have Rangers gear, Mavs gear, Cowboys gear, Stars gear. And then they also have locations in Philly and Denver and Phoenix and Chicago, the whole 9 yards. I was looking through, I saw Chicago's website. Chicago's like one of my favorite cities ever. They had a very cool sweatshirt that had like a pizza box, like deep dish. I loved it. I'm probably going to place an order once it gets a little bit colder. I can't really justify buying a sweatshirt when it's 82 degrees outside.
Sure. Yep.
But when it is a little bit colder, I will be making that purchase. And it seems like the more that we sell at the Dallas location, the more creative they will get with the shirts. I've seen a few with the Mavericks that I love, some with the Cowboys. So we're definitely rolling out the early stages of the merch. Jeff is looking forward to the hats we're going to have, sweatshirts as well. What's the tie-dye one that you love?
Oh, yeah, it's the one with our Nuxie.
Nux?
Our guy, our logo man, our mascot. That's the word I'm looking for.
The mascot. So
our mascot.
We've got tons of stuff. It's great quality. It's a super affordable price. I mean, this stuff it's perfect. It's going to last you forever. I think Jeff's already bought 4.
4. Yeah,
We're
they
tallying
ship.
them up.
I think they ship Monday.
So Jeff's going to give us a fashion show, basically.
That's right. I'll walk the catwalk.
There you go.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And we're going to talk more about Die Hard, but I will say that when you join, you get a free shirt, so might as well.
That's right. Abby's stealing my thunder here.
Sorry.
Because as part of your Die Hard membership, you do get a free shirt. The Die Hard membership, for those of you who aren't aware, is access to all of our content, like the story I wrote today about Nathan Eovaldi that dives into...
That's behind a paywall.
Behind the paywall. He dives into the impact Kumar Rocker, Jacob deGrom could have, the TV deal, some new details there. So you can only read it if you're a diehard. And to become a diehard, it's easy. alldls.com/join-diehard. You sign up. Like I said, you get all the stories. You get a free shirt every year, not just once, every year. You also get access to first access to our special events that we're going to be doing, like stadium takeovers, watch parties, hopefully trips to games and events. I can't sell you enough on spring training, whether you go with us or go with just the family. It's the best sports vacation you can take. So, but hopefully those things are coming to fruition soon, and we'll have more details to tell you about. But you got to be a diehard to get access to those things. So, again, alldls.com/join-diehard and become a diehard today.
Yep, it's a great idea. It's a great plan. We'd love to have you. We'd love to travel with you. We'd love to hang out with you at a stadium or at a watering hole near you. So become a diehard. I think that's the takeovers we're going to have. Let's talk about these minor leaguers, Jeff. It's again, the development that's going on, and really, what happened at the trade deadline, and the things that have happened here recently with any time that the Rangers have acquired talent. The greatest thing is they have not had to salvage the future, right? They have not had to bankrupt their future by sending away great picks. The best picks in the organization are still intact.
Yeah, last year was a little different because they did surrender a couple guys who made their major league debuts just in the last week. Luis Angel Acuna with the Mets.
Got his first home run last night.
And Tommy said JC with the Cardinals. Acuna was the Scherzer trade. So JC and
Jordan.
He was part of the Jordan Montgomery trade along with TK Roby. But these trades, you have to replenish the farm system. The farm system is a constantly, you lose some, you gain some. The draft, you draft a bunch of guys, you're gonna have to lose some guys. That's just the way it goes. International signings, all of that stuff, and there are a lot of players. I mean, there are tons of players, both in the United States, internationally. Guys who won't see a roster because there's not space under current rules for these bloated rosters, but it's still a large number. You have 4 full season affiliates, and the winners this year came from, really, they started in the lower levels, and that's a good sign. You need to have depth in your farm system, but they didn't just stay in one spot. They moved up and graduated to newer levels. And you start with the player of the year, Alejandro Osuna.
Yeah, let's take a look at that list
as
we run through these. There you go.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll start with the pitcher. Alejandro Rosario, who's a great story. He beats out Emiliano Teodo, who was like the MVP of the Futures game. Had an excellent year, of course. Rosario was in college last year, was drafted in the 5th or 6th round from Miami. Didn't have a great year, really, his last year in college. It wasn't an outstanding college pitcher, but he had stuff. And the Rangers found a way to funnel it into something productive, focus on your strengths, attack your strengths, dominate your strengths, and he did it unbelievably well. Talk about a guy who strikes out a bunch, issues very few walks.
129. Those numbers didn't make it. 129 strikeouts, 13 walks.
Yeah. I mean, those are
10 times as many strikeouts.
And he's not throwing 88. He's throwing 98. So it's power stuff. He came from a single parent household in Miami. His mom raised him right. Going out on the road on his own is no big deal, he said. So that's a great story. Alejandro Osuna, he's from Mexico. He has big league bloodlines. Antonio Osuna and Roberto Osuna, former big league relievers. Probably don't want to mention Roberto too much, but Alejandro he was delayed a little bit at the start of the year with an injury. Was at Hickory, dominated Hickory, came up, was even better at Double-A. So that's really good. The Rangers have bigger names in the outfield, but this guy's just a ball player. He's good defensively, has some power, can run the bases. Brian Magdaleno, holy cow, he hasn't allowed a run in his last 17 appearances.
Wow.
Okay, that's over 3 different levels, low A, high A, and Frisco.
Fantastic.
And then Defender of the Year, Cody Freeman's a great story. He was drafted in the 4th round, I believe in 18 or 19. Chris Woodward knows the family. He has an older brother, maybe younger brother. He has a brother who was a Guardians top prospect and is one of their top young players. He's in the major leagues right now. Cody can play everywhere. They tried him at catcher. He's most comfortable probably at third, but he can play second. He can get around. He has a lot of doubles this year. He has almost 50 extra base hits. So good player developing there. And then the True Ranger Award, the guy who embodies the spirit of what the Rangers want their players to be, is Jax Biggers. He's been in the system for a long time from Arkansas, just hanging around and doing well. He's contributing. He's not just hanging on. He may not have much of a big league future. There are a lot of roadblocks and obstacles in front of him. One problem is Sebastian Walcott, who's another guy who did not win Player of the Year, who might have in another year, plays those positions. But Jax is a utility guy, can play anywhere, plays hard, plays the game the right way, shows up with the best attitudes, a great teammate, all the things that Chris Young wants from his major leaguers, his draftees, his international signees. Jax Biggers embodies those.
I love his rundown of minor leagues.
Yeah.
Like, that should be the Jeff Wilson show. I mean, you have your own.
Well,
you do have your
Yeah.
own. But I love listening to that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anybody doing this that knows more about the Rangers minor league system than Jeff does. And that was one of the hallmarks, and still is, of his weekly podcast. Now, there's a Rangers Weekly as well that he does with John Moore, and they still do a lot of minor leagues. But the point is, he's here now as well. We're gonna continue to dive into these minor leagues in the off season. We're gonna have minor leaguers on. We'll have people from each of the organizations on as well, because again, that's the future, and that's pretty cool to see. And I do think that as you see those awards presented, you're in the organization, right? Somewhere in the organization, you see those awards presented, and you want to be like Jack Spiggers, right?
Sure.
Especially that one. That's one where, you can be like, I can do that. I can be what Jax is. He's a great teammate. That's almost like your Roberto Clemente Award, that True Texas Rangers Award.
Or the Heart Hustle Award.
Yeah, exactly. That is one of those that is for heart and hustle. It's for effort. It's for all those things. And every one of these guys knows they're capable of that. I think all of those awards, though, are motivating. Teodo, he's motivated now. Like, man, I didn't win the Nolan Ryan. And by the way, I love the graphic once again that Elijah made for us. And he's like, how do you like the picture on the side of it? I'm
it's
like,
a pretty good one.
Well, I had to zoom in. I'm like, because I had it on my phone, right? And I'm looking, I go, oh yeah, that guy looks just like Nolan Ryan. So it's the Nolan Ryan Pitcher of the Year. Let's give our love to Nolan and Tom, especially Tom Grieve, my buddy, Player of the Year. And I imagine eventually there will be names before all of them, but it's a very honored position to be in, to have your name on one of those awards.
It is, and they'll be recognized before the game Saturday, I believe. They'll be recognized at the midwinter banquet in the off season. So playing with Abby's table for some reason, but I wanted to bring something up. I didn't get it in yesterday about Nolan Ryan when we were talking about the 1974 Cy Young Award and how Fergie Jenkins didn't get it. Catfish Hunter did. They had the same amount of wins. Hunter had lower ERA. Fergie had more innings and more strikeouts. Nolan Ryan had finished third that year in the balloting. And that was the year he didn't set the major league record for strikeouts. That was the year after he'd done it. But he walked 202 batters. That's just unbelievable how many pitches he threw in that year. But he finished third in the Cy Young. Gaylord Perry, another former Ranger, finished fourth. So I wanted to sneak that in. But to your point about the minor leagues, I mean, these guys are young and hungry. They're all good kids. If you've watched our podcast that I do with John Moore, none of them are jerks. I mean, we had Sebastian Walcott on last week, this guy who's 18-year-old budding superstar, and he took time away from his mom and his brother, sat down, was cracking jokes, having a good time. So get to know these guys. I think if I were in baseball, I'd want to be in player development, just because there's a lot.
You'd be great at that.
There's a lot of reward. You start with these guys, you get them indoctrinated into your system, and then you watch them grow. And the ultimate is what Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter and Wyatt Langford are doing, is playing in the major leagues. Yeah.
And like minor leagues is so cool too. My dad has so many stories about the one-off jobs that he got just to like make ends meet. Because like I do think it is the most grueling process to becoming a professional athlete. I mean, NBA guys, they've been catered to their whole life, and we love them. They're very talented, but it's such a different road for these guys. So I think there's so much character there and so many cool stories.
Right. Those
we'll get into that in the offseason, no doubt.
Those obstacles build character, and perhaps no players in all of baseball have more obstacles to getting to the big leagues than those from Cuba, and those like Adolis Garcia, who still, despite a year where he has, by his own admission, struggled and not lived up to his own expectations, shows that character night in and night out, doesn't he, Abs?
Yeah, no doubt. And the cool thing of being there at the field every day, especially me too, growing up in it, you get a little stale to how life-changing it is. And these little moments that sometimes we take for granted because it is just another Tuesday and we're in the middle of a 6-game homestand and it is September. But we saw a pretty special moment last night, and we have a video here of a sweet little fan. Her entire year has been made. She received an autograph from Adolis Garcia, and this just shows a little perspective on how cool these moments are.
Oh, I love that reaction.
Y'all, I was a little worried she was gonna like pass out from
gosh.
excitement.
So great.
But she had no clue I was even videoing, and it was so cool. So I see Tony Beasley, you know, coming off of batting practice and everything, and he's about to go in the dugout. And I said, Bees, come over here. I show him this video, and he's like, Abby, this is what they need to see. So I was like, well, show it to Adolis, you know, show it to him before the game today. So I texted the video to Tony Beasley, and he showed him that before the game. And you see how well Adolis Garcia played in the game, because I do think these guys are so hard on themselves, and you know they don't realize how cool it is what they're doing, and they're somebody's, you know, living out somebody's dream and things like that. So, you know, I'm not saying I was to blame or
no, you were to credit. We're going to give you the
with
credit.
Adolis Garcia's great outing, because I can't do anything he does, but I do think that these guys just need a reminder of moments like that.
You know, I will say, too, they don't very often see that, because what Adolis did after he threw the pen and the ball back to her is his eyes went focused on some other person who wanted an autograph. You stayed with the little girl for the reaction.
Oh, yeah, and Travis Jankowski, similar thing happened to him, and I showed him the video, and he was like, I never knew that's kind of what happens after, because their head's down and they're on to the next. No doubt about that. But, yeah, it was a really special. That just made me like so excited to go out to the ballpark.
Another
today.
reason to go to the ballpark. There are only 5 home games left, and as we mentioned, you may need game time for a few of them because they're going to be sold out this weekend. Wow, that was fun. That was a quick hour. We appreciate you being a part of it. We want you to always be a part of it. Remember to chat along, like us, subscribe to us. It's the DLLS Rangers Podcast. We're back tomorrow. We have 2 shows.
Two shows.
Pre and post.
And today, I do think that Rocker is talking with media, so go to DLLS Rangers. We're going to hopefully have some soundbite from Rocker on his first start at Globe Life Field.
Fantastic. We look forward to that, and we look forward to you being with us again tomorrow, 1 o'clock, same time, same stream.
We all silly like the mayor.